When do we trust one person with the power of a nation? And who decides when enough is enough? Pause with me a moment, for a decision has come down from our highest court, a decision no less important for being buried in the language of law. The Supreme Court has spoken, saying that not even the President, in the shadow of an emergency, may reach beyond the fence Congress has built. Not even for reasons he believes good and urgent. The ruling was clear and firm. 6 justices agreed. The President cannot use the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA, to place broad tariffs on foreign goods. The words of the law, the court wrote, did not grant that kind of might. Only Congress, the branch closest to the people's purse, may lay down such duties. Picture now the old marble pillars of the Supreme Court, standing quiet against a grey morning as news of this ruling travels out, swift as wildfire, into offices and shops, homes and farms all across the land. Let us set this plain. Over $200 billion in tariffs are touched by this ruling. The nation's importers, factory workers and shopkeepers watch with uncertain eyes as federal collections halt and talk of refunds hangs in the air. In the White House, advisors pause, weighing what is lost and what remains. Why does it matter? Some will say, this is but a fight among lawyers. But I tell you, it reaches every tabletop, every family relying on the price of bread and the trustworthiness of law. The court looked to the words of Congress, just as a stonemason checks his line before raising a wall. Their test was called the Major Questions Doctrine. It means, if an action will change the course of the country, the law must speak plainly, or not at all. Power must not overflow its vessel. The President acted with purpose. The world is not gentle. He sought to guard against what he saw as a foreign threat: trafficking in dangerous drugs, trade imbalances straining peace. His aim may have been to protect, but the means he chose outran the law that the people, through Congress, had agreed upon. Imagine for a moment a small-town port at sunrise. Ships line the dock, crates stacked and waiting. Workers stand in chilly air, listening to radios. The news full of policy and law, their own future tied to decisions made far above. A foreman, hands in pockets, wonders if the job he holds will be there tomorrow. The weight of office is real. I myself have felt it. In times of peril, temptation comes to reach further, to act swiftly, to say, the law must make way for necessity. But that is the very gate through which liberty quietly takes her leave. Justice Kavanaugh dissented. He saw peril too: billions in possible refunds, uncertainty in global trade, partners abroad left wondering if America keeps her word. His words remind us that in every great disagreement, there are honest hearts on either side. Picture, if you will, a kitchen table in the Midwest. A mother folds her hands. The family wonders, will the goods we counted on be cheaper now, or harder to find? Is this a win for fairness, or a worry for the town? Not all news is black and white. What matters is how we face it together. The ruling halts more than the tariffs themselves. It momentarily stops a strain running through the fabric of our government, the push and pull between power and restraint. Many will now ask, what of security? What of strength? What of swift action when threats are near? Yet history has seen this before. When America is tested by war, by want, by question, our answer must never be the surrender of law to any one will, however well-intentioned. For only the law stands between order and passion, between the republic and the rule of men. Think of the calm that follows a storm. Neighbors walk the main street, newspapers tucked under their arms, glancing at the flag above the post office. Life stirs with a new kind of purpose. The question lingering, what do we do next? Congress must now consider its charge. Will it clarify the law, tighten the lines, or yield more ground to the executive in times of crisis? Will refund questions be solved with fairness, and supply chains steadied for the sake of family and work? This is the work of self-government, slow, sometimes uncertain, always essential. Feel for a moment the burden on their shoulders. From Washington to rural district, each legislator hears the worry on the wind. America's strength is her unity, but unity depends on rules kept clear and promises held fast. Suppose a classroom in session, sunlight pouring in. The teacher pauses before the lesson, telling the children, In our country, power is shared. No one can take what is not theirs, even to help. The students look thoughtful, pencils quiet on the desk. All the while, foreign partners and allies look on, reading this as a signal. Can America's word be trusted? Will we run our government by sudden command or steady law? If the rules can shift too quickly, who will trust the handshake of tomorrow? Pause to think. If power can grow unchecked in one moment, even for good reasons, what stops it from growing for bad ones in the next? What fence is left standing if we allow one man to move it alone? Imagine a courthouse just after sunset, a janitor sweeping the halls. The room still holds the echo of voices, some triumphant, others troubled, with the sense that something grave but necessary passed here today. The decision does not end the argument. It opens questions that demand our best efforts. Will refunds be paid? Can other laws take the place of the old? Will our industries rebound, innovate, or falter? The work of a free people never truly ends. We solve one puzzle only to face the next. As we consider what comes next, let us remember that the Republic does not grow strong through haste or fear, but through patient resolve. Think of a farm at dusk, rows stretching out under a wide sky. The farmer leans on his fence. What matters most is not how quickly he can plow a field, but that the boundaries are there to keep the work honest and the neighbors at peace. So it is with nations. The fence of the law, drawn with care, only holds if it is respected by those who till the soil of power. Some will say, but what of emergencies? What if danger comes and there is no time? It is true, crises do not wait for debate. But the founders gave your representatives the tools to act if they choose. If Congress sees that more swiftness is needed, it may write the law with stronger language, with sharper teeth. But until it does, not even the office highest in the land may claim what is not clearly given. Picture a busy port city at noon, cranes swinging overhead, cargo moving from ships to trucks. At the water's edge, a small business owner scans the day's manifest, wondering what comes next for prices and wages in a world both connected and uncertain. Some folks will point to the turmoil this ruling may bring. Refunds owed, contracts delayed, uncertainty spreading from banker to truck driver, from city desk to rural barn. This is no small thing. We must not make light of hardship that visits so many hands. But let us be honest, friends. When the law is plain, it must govern. If in our system it seems slow or hard, remember the lesson in its design, that it is better to bear the load of debate and caution than to wake and find decision now rests only in the grip of haste. There are those in positions of power who argue for boldness, who say that the world's dangers demand speed, even at the price of process. They tell us that America cannot afford to wait, that enemies abroad will seize any pause. Their fears are not empty, for the world is tough and power does not sleep. Yet if our answer is always to set aside restraints for every emergency, we are left with no restraints at all. Imagine a small-town diner in the late afternoon, plates clattering, laughter and news mixing in the air. There, two old friends speak quietly, recalling a time when change seemed impossible but still came, because people insisted the rules be followed. They do not shout, they do not curse. They simply nod in the knowledge that law endures even as leaders come and go. It is natural that many want clarity now. Will Congress rewrite the IEEPA? Will business recover the money taken under the old rules? Will allies and rivals adjust their plans, banking on a steadier or shakier America? These are fair questions, and the unease behind them is real. Yet I say to you, our strength is not in avoiding change or confusion, but in how we face them together, as a nation built on argument and respect. The Republic is not fragile. She is tried by storms, but she is not made of glass. See in your mind a courthouse square as evening sets in. A flag moves in the breeze, lights glow in the windows of City Hall, where debates stretch into the night, some about money, some about justice, some about the limits of every person's claim on power. There is hope there, even in the arguments, because people have not stopped caring. In this moment, the road ahead splits. One path is to blame, the court, the president, Congress, the other side, anyone not ourselves. It is a tempting road, but it leads nowhere. The better path is to take up the old work of self-government, asking, weighing, listening, seeking compromise that holds law and necessity in balance. Think of teachers gathering in a library as dusk settles outside, speaking in quiet voices about how they will explain this change to their students. The lesson is not simple, nor should it be. For the greatest lessons come not from easy answers, but from the careful laying out of questions. Much will depend on what happens next, not just the words in law books, but the habits of leaders and citizens alike. Will Congress act with purpose? Will the executive abide with dignity? Will the people, through all their disagreements and doubts, hold fast to the idea that law is our highest shield? Do not let division be our answer, for America's strength is her unity. Let this decision be a call not to anger, but to renewal, to think again about why we build checks and balances, why we share power, why no one office or man sits forever as the last word. Picture a living room late at night, a family finishing their supper in silence as the television glows with news of tariffs and law. There is quiet worry, yes, but also a kind of rest, a trust that, whatever storms may come, the Republic endures because each generation has stood, when called, for something beyond themselves. The greatest test is not in asking who wins today, but whether we all will fight tomorrow for the kind of government that holds together when times are hard. The law, once tested, is not weaker but stronger, not shaken but revealed as the solid earth beneath our feet. History has seen this before. In times of war, want, and worry, some have demanded more power for safety's sake. But America's hope is not safety alone. It is liberty kept by law, and law made by the people. So let us look ahead. Congress must consider, how should the laws be written to protect both security and restraint? Will it choose clarity, or leave the lines blurry for the next emergency? And let us each take stock. Citizenship is not a gift. It is a burden and a privilege and a daily act. Honest debate is not our enemy. Slow decision is not our enemy. Our enemy is the belief that only force or fear must rule. I say to all, hold steady. Take this moment not as proof of weakness, but as a lesson in civic strength. The work of a republic has always been to argue, to listen, to mend what was torn, to trust that though the way bends, the union holds. Think now of soldiers stationed far away, writing home by lamplight. They serve, not for a single man nor passing idea, but for the principles that outlast them. Principles of law, balance, and self-restraint. Our greatest days do not lie behind us. They await the courage and patience of citizens, yet unwilling to let go of government of the people, by the people, for the people. The Republic can be saved. I leave you with this question, for your own table, for your own street, for your own Congress. When the law draws its borders, will we guard them with pride, or let them be crossed in the name of fear? The answer, friends, is in your keeping.